Thank you for tuning in to V News. You're watching the Bulletins. Coming up next, we have your top stories. President Trương Tấn Sang arrives in Havana for two-day official visit to Cuba. Public Minister attends meeting on transnational crime in Malaysia. Côn Sơn Kiếp Bạc Autumn Festival takes place in Hải Dương Province. President Trương Tấn Sang arrived in Havana on September 29th to start his two-day official visit to Cuba. The visit aims to intensify political relations and economic links between the two countries. Over the past 55 years, the bilateral comprehensive cooperation and solidarity has continually developed. Cuba was a pioneer in the international movement to support Vietnam's past struggle for national liberation. It currently pays significant attention to boosting multifaceted cooperation with Vietnam, particularly in agriculture, education, health, biotechnology, transport and sports. Bilateral trade increased from $175 million in 2012 to $200 million in 2014. Vietnam mainly exports rice and consumer goods to Cuba while buying medicine and biological products from the country. Before leaving New York for Cuba, President Trương Tấn Sang attended several important events and met with his French counterpart. President Trương Tấn Sang affirmed that Vietnam attaches importance to developing all-around relations with France as one of its top partners during his meeting with French President François Hollande on the sidelines of the UN summit in New York on September 28 local time. President Trương Tấn Sang attended the United Nations Peacekeeping Summit held in New York on September 28, New York time, as part of the ongoing 70th session of the UN General Assembly. In his remarks at the event, which saw the participation of UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon, US President Barack Obama, and leaders of nearly 50 countries, President Sang affirmed Vietnam's attendance at the event as one of the troop contributors to UN peacekeeping operations since 2014. He informed that Vietnam will soon dispatch Level 2 field hospital and military engineer unit and continues sending liaison officers and staff officers to the UN peacekeeping operation. The President thanked the UN and other countries for assisting Vietnam in her efforts to participate in the peacekeeping operations, saying that we look forward to the continued cooperation and support in the future. Minister of Public Security Trần Đại Quang is joining delegates from 10 ASEAN members and the ASEAN Secretariat at the 10th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Transnational Crime and Related Meetings that opened in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on September 29th. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Malaysian Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Ahmad Zahid Hamidi called on ASEAN member countries to make critical decisions on transnational crime, especially new forms defined by the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, including the illicit trade of nature and cultural heritage, wildlife, electrical and electronic waste, ozone-depleting substances, and counterfeit consumer goods. At the event, Minister Trần Đại Quang urged for closer coordination among law executing agencies of ASEAN member countries, saying that they need to increase the sharing of information and experiences in investigating and making judgment on transnational crimes. At the event, ASEAN member countries' ministers discussed and agreed to approve a Kuala Lumpur Declaration on combating transnational crime and an ASEAN plan of actions to combat human trafficking, and a joint declaration under which they commit to making greater efforts to prevent transnational crimes, to ensure peace and stability in the region and the world at large. The realities of and prospects for development cooperation between Vietnam and India, as well as between ASEAN and India, were the focus of a seminar opening in Hanoi on September 29th. Our reporters with more details.
During the seminar, more than 100 experts and scholars from ASEAN member countries and India shared their views on the current situations and prospects for links between Vietnam, ASEAN, and India. The two-day event helped clarify both achievements on and shortcomings of the development cooperation in many realms, including politics, business, culture, science, and education. The participants raised a few proposals to address shortcomings and enhance the efficiency of development cooperation between Vietnam, ASEAN and India, as well as contributing to maintaining regional and global peace.
We need to consider some factors regarding the development cooperation between Vietnam, ASEAN and India, including the traditional and long-standing relationship between the three parties, which has been nurtured by peaceful cooperation for mutual development. To realize the potentials of each side, we need to make full use of their advantages.
Socio-cultural issues and those related to education, training, economic and trade bonds between stakeholders were also debated during the seminar.
Vietnamese typical products have received warm welcome at the Perth Royal Show, the biggest of its kind in Western Australia. Let's take a look. Covering up to 600 square meters, the Vietnamese section is featuring a range of products such as coffee, gifts, handicrafts and silk, among others, and an open-air water puppet theater. Visitors to the show will have a chance to enjoy water puppet performances and traditional dishes. Vietnam is among the leading global producers of rice, coffee, cashew nuts and pepper. It is the third biggest consumer of Western Australia's farm produce and the second biggest importer of Australian live cattle. Currently, Vietnam is the 16th biggest trade partner of Western Australia, with two-way trade hitting 1.2 billion Australian dollars last year. The country mainly imports wheat, seafood, beef and lamb from the Australian state. This year, the century-old Perth Royal Show brought together 1,000 enterprises across the world. The event will run until October 4th. Potentials for Da Nang to profit from trade, investment and economic integration once the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement comes into effect, as well as investment opportunities in the US, were deliberated at a recent conference held in the central city.
Nathan Lane, economic officer from the U.S. Consulate General, highlighted that the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement is a valuable opportunity for Vietnamese exports to the U.S., such as garments, seafood, footwear and wooden furniture, while fostering investment from the U.S. and other foreign countries in Vietnam. He added that the deal will also help lift Vietnam's position in the international arena and enhance its relations with key partners. Solutions to connect with U.S. suppliers and address intellectual property, cybersecurity, and U.S. visa requirements were also discussed at the conference. The U.S. is among the leading trade and investment partners of Da Nang. By the end of June, the city was home to 34 U.S. projects with total registered capital of $331.7 million. In 2014 alone, Da Nang raked in $220 million from exports to the North American country.
People who have less than 4 out of 10 vision, even with glasses, will not be allowed to ride 50cc to 175cc motorcycles in Vietnam. This is part of a new circular on drivers' medical standards issued by the Health and Transport Ministries, which will take effect from October 10th this year. Accordingly, drivers must not have less than 5 out of 10 vision with glasses to be eligible for driving vehicles with less than 9 seats and lorries weighing less than 3.5 tons. Bikers and car drivers will not be issued driver licenses if they suffer from color blindness and cannot distinguish red, yellow and green colors and have mental and physical disabilities. The new regulation also bans people who use drugs and exceed the legal alcohol intake limit from driving. The criteria on weight, height and chest size included in a decision issued in 2008 have been removed and replaced with 9 standards that cover the mental state, nerves, eyes and ears, nose, throat, besides the respiratory system and muscle-bone articulation. A collection of 638 items and more than 100 photos and maps featuring Hanoi's Thăng Long Imperial Citadel have been handed over to Ho Chi Minh City. Secretary of the Hanoi Party Committee Phạm Quang Nghị stated that the handover of these items to Ho Chi Minh City aims to intensify preservation and promote the object's value, while helping people in Ho Chi Minh City and other southern localities understand more about the land of the capital city. It also reflected the close relationship between the two largest cities of Vietnam, thus contributing to intensifying the great national unity and promoting the reform and sustainable development of the cities, Nghị added. On this occasion, the beauty of the Thăng Long Hanoi Imperial Citadel is featured at an exhibition in Ho Chi Minh City. Nearly 300 photos, maps and documentary films featuring the diverse culture and historical values of the citadel are introduced to visitors. The event is also expected to increase cultural exchanges between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. The Thăng Long Imperial Citadel in Hanoi, one of the country's momentous relics, was initially built during the Lý dynasty from 1009 to 1225. The core area of the Imperial Citadel was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2010. To celebrate the Côn Sơn Kiếp Bạc 2015 Autumn Festival, a series of cultural activities were held at the Kiếp Bạc Temple on September 28, including a folk music performance and a water puppet show. More in the following.
The event is one of the highlights of this year's Côn Sơn Kiếp Bạc Festival in memory of General Vung Tau, one of the most revered figures in Vietnam's history. According to folk belief, Vung Tau was worshipped as a deity under the name Đức Thánh Trần. The folk performance during the festival is essentially a Lindom ceremony, receiving incarnations of the deities, where artisans sing ballads hailing his achievements and merits, as well as of the forebears who contributed to the growth of the nation. Lindom performances consist of singing, dancing, and acting accompanied by many spiritual ceremonies, where performers pray for protection from evil spirits and cures for illnesses. The annual Côn Sơn Kiếp Bạc Festival is a significant cultural event of the Vietnamese people. According to the organizing board, it is also an opportunity to recognize the efforts to maintain an important cultural heritage of the nation. On the sidelines of the event, a series of water puppetry shows were also crowd pleasers, with more than 50 artisans performing in 15 shows. Some of the performances tell stories of our cultural production, traditional arts and crafts, and communal cultural activities. Water puppetry was first introduced 10 centuries ago. Puppeteers are usually hidden behind a screen and use a large rod to control puppets underwater. This year's Autumn Festival is being organized at the provinces of Hải Dương, Quảng Ninh, and Bắc Giang, are compiling a dossier seeking UNESCO recognition of the Côn Sơn Kiếp Bạc relic as a World Heritage Site.
The Nghinh Ông, or Whale Worshipping Festival, is taking place in Vung Tau City, the southern coastal province of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu. Let's take a look.
Besides rituals picking up the worm god from the sea to Thăng Tam Temple in the city, the 3-day festival also features a number of traditional performances, including folk games, swimming and fishing and net-making competitions. Vietnamese fishermen believe that whales rescue people in danger at sea and can bring them a prosperous fishing season. Thus, the annual Nghinh Ông Festival offers a chance for fishermen to express their gratitude towards the Nam Hải god, a whale, and the sea gods for protecting and supporting them in their daily lives and at sea, while praying for peace and a good harvest. According to the organizing board, the festival will also contribute to raising community awareness of protecting national sovereignty. The Nghinh Ông Đình Thăng Tam Festival in Vũng Tàu was recognized as one of the 15 biggest festivals in the country by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism in 2000.
And that has wrapped up our daily bulletins. Thank you for your attention. For more information, please log on to our website at www.vietnamplus.vn. Goodbye for now.